Good evening, Melissa Johnson here for episode 74 of Melissa Loves to Talk. Sorry, I'm kicking my table. Thank you so much for joining me. I am sorry that I was not on Monday. I had some dental work. My face was numb and there's no way I could have talked. I was going to try, but it wouldn't have probably went too well. So I am sorry. I need to be better at this. It is just hard working and trying to do this. So sorry about that. I am not sure if you know that America Reads the Bible has been going on all week. And they have been reading the Bible and having worship at the Museum of the Bible in Washington, D.C. for 12 hours a day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I think it ends on Saturday. Today, they just got into the New Testament, so they just have to finish up the New Testament. I think they are in Luke. I think that's what they're in. So they just have to finish up the New Testament, and it's great. It's been being read 12 hours a day for the last 5 days. This is day 6, so that's pretty awesome. Oh yeah, tomorrow's Saturday, so it ends tomorrow. So if you have not watched it, you can either watch it on Great American Pure Flix, or there is a website. It's just America Reads the Bible. I just think it's .com. I'm not positive, but I think if you just Google it, it'll take you to something. But I've just been having it play continually in my house, even when no one's home, just to have the word being played in my house. And it's pretty awesome to me. I'm pretty sad because I've missed a couple of the readers. There's been a lot of people that we all know. The gentleman that created The Chosen, he just read a couple minutes ago, so I got to see him. And the president read on Tuesday. Mike Johnson, I think, started it out, so he started reading first. There's been other congressmen and senators from the U.S. Congress, and then some different states have had some of their congressmen and senators. They've had some governors, I believe, on here. And most of the people that have been reading have been like pastors or, some kind of organization that has to do with, Christian values or whatever. I have missed a lot of it. So I'm really, really hoping that it will be replayed once it's not live anymore, is what I'm really hoping. Like the chick that's reading right now, her name's Reagan Paul. She's Maine state representative. So she is a state representative in Maine. If you did not know, we do not have any representation in the U.S. Congress in Maine. Because they have gerrymandered it and cut out all the Republican seats. So in the U.S. House of Representatives, we have no representation. So that's fabulous. This is what they've done to us. And finally, people are starting to stand up. I'm so happy. Virginia tried to do the same thing and give us one seat when they had the most, fair. It was 6-5, and that's literally how they vote, and that's how the seats should be drawn. It goes by how you vote. It's not the Electoral College. The Electoral College is different. That goes by population. The House seats are drawn by the way we vote. So in a state in Virginia, like they try to pass it, which the courts are fighting it because they said it was unconstitutional, but it was 6-5, and literally the vote was 51-49. So that's perfect representation of how they vote. So their map is accurate according to the way people vote, and that's what that map is. That map is on how people vote not the Electoral College. People, I think, are getting confused with the Electoral College and the districting. The redistricting is by voting. So in a state that majority votes red would be have more red seats than blue seats. In a state that votes more blue has more blue seats than red seats. That's how it works. I think a lot of people are confused on how it works. And that's why these places are, certain states are trying to redistrict because, like Texas, number one, a ton of people moved into their state, which changed how people vote because of so many people moving into that state from blue states to get away from blue policies. And so they redistrict because their map needed more seats because there's more people voting red. So they had to add more seats. It was not gerrymandering. Gerrymandering is what Maine, again, Illinois has done, Virginia. That's gerrymandering. That's not fair. Redistricting is fair. It's going by how your representation is supposed to be. Like I said, there's 6 or 7 states that have no Republican seats. So they showed today, I want to say Maine. So we'll just say Maine because that's who's reading. The chick is from Maine. But I think like 35% of people vote Republican and they have no seats. So 35% of the population has no representation. And there's an actual a thing in the Constitution about that, right? That was the Tea Party, was taxation without representation. So if you live in these states that don't have red seats, I'm not telling you not to pay your taxes, but you take it how you want to take it. Just saying. But yeah, so this is why I said I'm sick and tired of it, is because when Republicans do what's fair, Democrats do the opposite and take advantage. Like they thought because Texas got redistricted, which it should have, because more people moved in, you add more seats for the representation. Because you're going to move now, say, a whole bunch of people moved into a blue area, but now they're all voting Republican. So it goes by, okay, in 2024, Trump won Texas by however many, how much percentage, and then they'll go by, okay, the state voted 70% red, 30% blue. Okay, well, we don't have an even amount of seats because right now the seats are 60-40. So that means we need more seats to represent the other 10 Republicans. So the 10 seats need to go now to the Republican instead of the Democrat. That's how it works. Or if it would have been vice versa, they would have probably did the exact same thing. Well, now we have more Democrats, so now we have to switch it to Democrat. The way, like I said, the way Virginia did it was they are 6 and 5, which is exactly how they vote. They vote 51-49. Perfect representation. They have probably, like I said, the most fair map. And they want to make it 10 Democrats and 1 Republican. So shocking they wanted to even give 1 Republican, but I think because the one area is very, very red, and they knew people would fight back because that is very red. If you look at the map, it's like bright, bright red, where the rest of the state is kind of a lighter red because you have Democrats in that area voting Democrat and you have Republicans voting in that area Republican. But so if you didn't know this, I hope you're learning something. But this is what we're fighting. We're fighting people that want to just completely cheat. And I'm over it. We found out this week, if you watch the news, mainstream media is framing it completely the wrong way. I'm literally going to show you exactly what they found. So SPLC is a thing that's supposed to fight against racism and white supremacy and all that. I'm going to show you what they say they do, and then I'm going to show you what they actually were doing. And this is why I am saying I'm sick and tired. Are you sick and tired? So I'm going to show you, and we're going to see. I have learned something. Nope, I didn't learn anything. I proved I was right. I didn't learn anything, but this is the battle we've been facing, and I'm so glad that it finally came out that this is what we've been saying for all these years, and it's actually true. Of course, we found out stuff we did not know and are very surprised, but we found out a lot of stuff that we knew. And because they are not showing it on mainstream media, the Democrats still will not know, and they will still vote blue because they are always misinformed. Hopefully, they'll get the information somewhere, so they will see what the Democratic Party has done to the Democrats for years and years and years. So I'm going to show you what they're supposed to do and what they actually are being accused of, with lots and lots of evidence. So you can take it however you want to take it. So here we go. Okay, so the SPLC, Learning for Justice Civil Rights Memorial Center, it's supposed to be racial justice issues, a beacon of hope for 55 years. So the Southern Poverty Law Center stands as a beacon of hope, fighting white supremacy and various forms of injustice to help create a multiracial democracy where we can all live and thrive. Today calls for us to maintain our resolve in the face of another fight for injustice. Okay, we don't live in a democracy, just so you know. But this is what they're supposed to be doing. Okay, they're supposed to be voting for voting rights. We don't live in a democracy. I wish they'd stop saying that. That's another thing that gets on my nerves. We live in a constitutional republic. Okay, so they're supposed to be dismantling white supremacy, ending unjust imprisonment, which they don't do that. They get guilty people out of jail. Okay, and then eliminating poverty and economic equality, which they calls it. We're going to show that they calls all these things. Just the hypocrisy never ends. Okay, so sick of it. So sick of it. So this is what they are supposed to be doing. And here's what they're accused of doing with lots and lots of evidence because they had a grand jury do the indictments, which means it's peers of people like you and me say we see enough evidence that these people should be indicted. This is not just a right-wing person that is mad about them. That's not what this is. So here we go. Oh, it didn't play the video. Here we go. That's not what I thought was going to play, but that works.
Well, Democrats now in meltdown mode over the Justice Department's indictment of the Southern Poverty Law Center on fraud charges. Christina
Sorry,
Coleman
the video
is
is not that great.
On this.
Oh,
Christina,
okay, it's clear enough.
Hi, good evening, Trace. The Southern Poverty Law Center, a tax-exempt nonprofit, is accused of funding racist hate groups that they claim to be fighting. Federal authorities say this civil rights group defrauded donors by using their money to secretly pay leaders of hate groups for inside information.
You're alleging that the Southern Poverty Law Center was paying the leaders of KKK and other groups to continue their operations? Is that?
I'm not alleging it. The grand jury returned an indictment that says that.
SPLC is now facing multiple federal charges, including wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Now, despite all these allegations against SPLC, Democratic Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is criticizing the Trump administration over this federal indictment. Schumer is now calling the DOJ the Department of Vengeance over this.
These charges should send a chill down the spine of every American who cares about free expression and the rule of law in the Justice Department.
Meantime, SPLC denies the allegations and says they will vigorously defend themselves, their staff, and their work trace.
Christina, thank you. Well, the Fox News and Not Common Sense Department thinks the Southern Poverty Law Center is in a quintessential pick. The SPLC maintains that it's in business to eradicate hate, but is accused of spending millions to generate hate. Maybe it's the old economic rule of supply and demand, where if you make money opposing hate and racism, you might need to someday find more hate and racism. And that's where the Department of Justice comes in. The DOJ is now claiming SPLC spent 9 years and $3 million misleading its donors by telling them their donations would be used to take down violent extremist groups. And instead, the money was spent on the leaders and organizers of the violent extremist groups, like the KKK and Aryan Nation. SPLC says it only paid the informants to get key information to help dismantle the organizations. In other words, they paid the extremists to degrade the extremism. Except the DOJ says they went to incredible lengths to disguise the payments, like setting up fictitious entities that had 0 employees for the sole purpose of handling the transactions. Maybe there's a reason SPLC seems to find more racist and hateful groups every year. Common sense is always very skeptical when you claim you are laboring to uncover the hate, but you're accused of laboring to cover up the truth. Let's bring in Bergen County, New Jersey Moms for Liberty Chair Alexandra Bauer and Daily Signal Senior Editor Tyler O'Neill. Thank you both for coming on. Tyler, to you first. Molly Hemingway, who has been with the network for a long time. She's also been following the story of SPLC for a long time. She had this to say today on Fox. Watch.
This is something the FBI is allowed to have informants that are part of, groups like this. Nonprofit groups such as the SPLC, are required to be quite honest about their operations. They were concealing not just from their donors, but from the federal government that they were financing the leadership of these racist groups. And that is a big problem, legally speaking.
You have also written a book on this, Tyler, and I want to know, 1, is she right? And 2, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think Molly Hemingway is right on the money. And by the way, I wrote my book, Making Hate Pay, The Corruption of the Southern Poverty Law Center, when I was following all the other forms of corruption that the SPLC has. And this is just the latest revelation, and it is damning. But the main aspect here, it's very hard. If you have a case where the SPLC is lying in its bank records, as the indictment states, it's going to be very hard for them to disprove that if it's plain in black and white.
Yeah, we talked about this in Common Sense, Alexandra, but when you make your living off people who's hating, you got to generate more hate at some point in time, and Moms for Liberty was among those that got hit by the SPLC hate.
We definitely felt it for a very long time. They attacked us nonstop. Basically putting us on a hate map, not only the national organization, but individual chapters as well. And they put us in the same box as murderers, rapists, racists. I mean, really hate groups like the KKK. And we're just moms, volunteer moms, trying to protect our children and, make sure the curriculum is good, or don't force masks on our kids or vaccines on our kids. I mean, simple parental rights. And they attacked us. And, that has real world consequences in real time. Events were canceled. Candidates couldn't run. Your name was taken off the ballot. So, they definitely bullied us and tried to intimidate us, but we're not the ones getting investigated. So, good always wins.
Yeah, that's how sometimes you handle dissent in this country. Meantime, Andrew Colvett, speaking for Turning Point USA, said this on Jesse Waters. Tyler, watch.
They put Turning Point USA on the hate map.
a warning. This is going to be a little heartbreaking.
SPLC, the quote-unquote hate map, in May of 2025. Less than 4 months later, Charlie would be killed by an assassin who said, quote, "Some hate can't be negotiated out."
Hate can't be negotiated out. I mean, you have kind of had this similar take on SPLC, Tyler.
Yeah, I testified in Congress about this exact topic because the SPLC has been tied to at least 3 violent attacks against conservatives. You had the attack on the Family Research Council, where a gunman showed up with a handgun and a bag of Chick-fil-A sandwiches, planning to shoot everyone in the building and smear a sandwich in their face. He said he got the target from the SPLC. You also had the shooter in the Steve Scalise shooting, that congressional baseball game practice where Steve Scalise almost died. He had liked the SPLC on Facebook, and now you have the horrific assassination of Charlie Kirk just months after the SPLC puts Turning Point on the hate map. I said it then, and I'll say it again now. It is long past time that the SPLC takes mainstream conservative and Christian groups off that map.
Except the media cannot wait to jump to their defense. Alex, watch this.
Oh, of course.
According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, as of February, around 700 Confederate memorials are still standing.
These MAGA Republicans believe that liberals and progressives are strategically replacing white conservative voters.
And nobody is surprised. Alex, final thoughts.
I'm definitely not surprised. Well, they should put themselves in our shoes, coming from somebody who has been doxxed, who has been swatted myself. I know what it's like to try and protect my children. So maybe they should do a little research about this organization instead of just listening to social media.
Yeah. Alex, Tyler, thank you both.
Okay, that was a little hard to watch, but so yes, just so we all know that we have been called white supremacists, we have been called Nazis, sorry, it didn't pause. Sorry, it didn't pause. So, we've been called Nazis, white supremacists, racist, everything, okay? Any name you can think of, we've been called because of these groups. This SPLC has been causing all of this because they are going to the groups that were actually all these things, and they're funding them. And they pay them to show up to places and do all these things and then say that it's MAGA. That's what they've done. They have done this for over, I'm going to say 11 years, because we'll say it probably started way before 2015, but definitely 2015, 2016, it started really going overboard. We've had people canceled. We've had people deplatformed. We've had people fired from the job. And like they said, we've had people assassinated because of these things that these people did. And the whole time, everyone says it's us, right? It's not us. You just saw what they said. It's a 501c, and what they do is they get donations, and they also get federal money. So they're getting tax money, and they're getting donations to set up these groups to go out and start trouble, and then blame MAGA. And so this is why all these years we get called all these names, was because they're actual groups that were actually like that, pretending to be us. And so we're automatically. And then you have the crazy people that believe it. Yes, they're white supremacists. Yes, they're Nazis. Yes, they're all this. Like they said, they're pushing hate. And that's what they said, is we have to get rid of hate. You know, I was listening to someone this morning, and they said, we tell people all the time, if you want to come to a Trump rally, you will never see hate. You will see nothing but loving people. people that want to talk to you and be friends with you and connect with you. No fights, nothing hateful at all, ever. I've been to multiple ones. There's tens of thousands of people there, and nothing happens crazy. No crazy fights, nothing, no one getting hurt. It's nothing but fun and a good time and friendly people. So that's why I said I'm sick and tired of it. I've been called all these names. I've been, reported to people, and I lost my job because of this stuff. And it's just, it's sickening that we're living in a country like this. I mean, yeah, they're pushing it in other countries. So I'm assuming that they probably were paying other countries to do the same thing. It wasn't just happening here. I'm assuming they'll find that out. I don't know what they're going to find out. But like I said, this is people like you and me thought there was enough evidence. A grand jury are the ones that are indicting these people. 11 people have been indicted already. And these are not anyone that's being, a right-wing person. They're people, just random people. I don't know how they do the grand jury. I know nothing about the grand jury. But like they said, they're not, anybody that has a motive. They have read the evidence and they're like, yeah, there's plenty of evidence. They have, he showed all the money that had been paid out. The head of the KKK was getting paid to go and do all these things. I thought they were against the KKK. So it's funny is there were people that saying they didn't even know the KKK still existed. But I'm like, yeah, they still exist. And they definitely exist now when they're getting paid to show up to these things. I mean, if they're throwing out a couple $100,000 for you to go and just pretend to be fighting people or starting trouble or whatever they were doing. So this is, it's great that it's coming out. It's just crazy that it was that much. Like, we knew it was people saying, yeah, we're just going to blame them for being, this and that and this and that. Just so you know, the left is funding the KKK. So for the people that say we're racists and all this stuff, the left is funding them. The white supremacists. All these people. Not Republicans. We are not funding them. You just saw the numbers. I just showed you the numbers. I'll show you. Well, no, I won't want to show you numbers again because I'll have to find the spot. But as a person that's been harassed for years and years and years because I support Donald Trump, I am so happy this is coming out. But again, you have the crazy lefties that'll just be like, oh, that's not true. There's evidence. You can see the evidence. You watch how the two lefty Lulus that are the leftiest of the left was talking about it. We're crazy. There's nothing to see here. So this is what they do nonstop, constantly to us. And it's okay. We're supposed to just take it. I'm tired of taking it because I've been dealing with it for 10 years. And now sometimes I really have to hear it. Like, I'll get on Facebook and I'll get called names. I don't really care, honestly. But I do sometimes think about where I am in certain areas, and I shouldn't have to live like that. I shouldn't have to think about, is someone going to throw rocks at me or scratch my car or, you know what I mean? I shouldn't have to think about things like that. Is someone going to do something to me because I have a license plate that says Trump? I took all of my stickers off. I just have a license. Well, both of my license plates say Trump. Where I live, you don't need a front license plate, so it's just a Trump. And then the back says, Trump, make America great around my license plate. So because of that, sometimes I, when people are, walking up beside my car, or, I mean, I've had people leave me nasty notes on my windshield. I've also had people put nice letters on my windshield. Like one time when I was at work and it was parked in the parking lot, someone was like, "We're so glad for people like you that are brave enough to put this on your car." And this was during the election. So I had Trump stuff all over my car. I had banners and I had magnets, and I mean, it was all Trumped out. So it was like, we're so happy that there's people that are brave like you. So that was nice. But then I do get, nasty stuff put on my car, or get yelled at and cussed at. But I don't care about that because I know what I'm standing for is right. So I don't care. And I know Jesus said, they hate you because they hate me. And that is the same thing. They hate that we are for God. I mean, clearly the Bible is being read right now 12 hours a day. And then Trump is rededicating the United States back to the Lord next month. So they hate that. That's why they act this way to us. They treat us like this because they hate that. There's no other reason to hate Trump besides that. Well, besides he's uncovering all their fraud and stuff. But even if he wasn't doing that and he was just doing all the stuff, rededicating, USA back to the Lord and having the Bible reading, just for doing that, having prayer in the Oval Office. Oh my goodness, I can't believe he does that. That's what they said. They can't believe that people are praying in the Oval Office. Crazy things. So, and then the thing where I've talked about this last week about, they thought he posted a post saying he's Jesus. Again, he doesn't even look like Jesus in that picture or a meme or whatever. We are all to be like Jesus. Again, we can all heal people. If we put our hands on them, we can heal them with the power of the Holy Spirit. We have the same power. So we're all to be like Jesus. And people want to be like, oh my gosh, he's trying to be Jesus. Well, we all should be trying to be Jesus. That's the purpose. So we're not Jesus, but we try to be like him. He literally said to do that. That's what the Bible says. But that's the point, is they're against the Bible. They hate the Bible. They hate everything it stands for. That's why everything that they're doing, you can literally go into the Bible and say, oh, they want to say there's more than two genders because it says male and female. Oh, they want to transgender people and say that, God made a mistake when it says, I knit you in your womb. I knew you before you were in your mother's womb. I knit you together. So he didn't make a mistake because he already knew you in your mother's womb. Everything. It's like he said, go out, be fruitful, and multiply. Well, they want us to be gay and lesbian, so we can't be fruitful and multiply because two guys can't make a baby, two girls can't make a baby. It's all against what God says to do. Every single thing they do. If you just keep, I could keep naming things over and over and over. Another thing, they kill the baby in the womb. Do you realize that's the most innocent because they haven't even come into sin yet? They aren't born into sin yet. They're still in the womb. They're nice and protected and cozy and perfect. You don't enter sin till you are born. That's why they want to kill them before they even get to take a breath. Kill them now. Get them out of here. Because that's perfectly knitted together in your mother's womb, that baby. So I'm glad all this came out, and I'm hoping more and more stuff's going to come out, which it has been. A lot of stuff in the last week has come out. So I'm just hoping it does. They wanted to put the 10 Commandments up in a school in Texas. Of course, they came against it. Well, the court said, yes, First Amendment right, you can have the 10 Commandments in the school. So, hallelujah for that. Maybe other schools will do it now that they know they can. Because probably people are too afraid to stand up to it. We know this. But if one person does it and shows, hey, we can do it if you just do it, like that's all we need is people to rule in our favor and say, yes, you can do it. And so Texas stepped forward and they got it. So hopefully other schools will do that. Look, they're trying to put prayer rooms in schools where Muslims are going to be praying. Okay? We need to counteract that. We don't want a fake false god being pulled into our schools. We have enough demonic presence in there. We don't need them praying in our schools. If you think back to when all the problems in the schools happened is when they took prayer out of the schools. I don't know if people know this, but back in it was 50 something, right? Or 60 something. They had prayer in the school. They were reading over the announcements. You know how like in the morning they say, good morning, today is blah, 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 blah. Let's stand for the pledge. This is what they did when I was a kid. Of course, there wasn't prayer in the school, but every morning we did the Pledge of Allegiance. And then I think they would do America the Beautiful. I think that's what we would play every morning. And then they'd have the announcements. Today is PTA meetings. Today is this. Today is that. Well, they used to have prayer over the announcements. And then one of the girls at Board of Education versus Brown or something like that. Brown versus the Board of Education, rather. Because, of course, she went against the Board of Education to get prayer taken out. They took prayer out of school. And there's when all the problems started happening in school. Before then, you never heard of school shootings, bullying. Never heard of any of that stuff. And then, that's funny is, she ended up getting saved and wanted to put prayer back in school. This is how things go. They wouldn't do it. She'd have to probably do all the things she did the first time, which it was her parents, not her, that did it. Of course, she was a kid. But, so, this is the stuff we're dealing with, but we're having a lot of good things happen. So we just need to make sure we get out and vote. Don't get discouraged. Even if you think there's no chance on God's green earth we're going to win the midterms, get out and vote anyway. Tell your friends, get out and vote. If people show up, we can win. The primaries are very, very important because you want to get the rhinos out. You want to get up and you want to primary the rhinos like they did in Texas. They got rid of Dan Crenshaw. He's a rhino. They primaried. That's what we need to do in every state where these people are running. They need to be primaried if they are rhinos. We have a lot of good people that we don't want to primary. We don't want to get them out. We want to make sure they're going to go through. So we need to show up and vote. Even if you live in a blue state, show up and vote. If we have enough people to get out and vote, we can win. We can do what we did in 2024. Too big to rig. Show up, get out, vote. Even if you think there's not a snowball chance and you know where, vote anyway. It's your civic duty to get out and vote. We can't complain about stuff if you don't vote. I'm going to just say it like that. Well, what did you do about it? You're complaining about taxes. Did you get out and vote? Do you want your city to look like New York City right now? That looks like you're in a third world country right now in New York City. You don't want your city to turn out like New York City. You need to be voting. There's governors up for re-election or new governors trying to get elected. All the House is up. We have Board of Education seats. Hey, we need some good people in the Board of Education. Hey, maybe they can get prayer back into school. Definitely can get some of these books out of the school. So even if you think there's no chance, just show up and vote. If everybody votes like they did 2024, what did we do? There was cheating, but guess what? Too big to rig. We showed up and we got Donald Trump back in there. That's what we need to do for the midterms. Primaries are most of them are going on now or in the next couple months. Show up anyway. A lot of people don't vote in primaries. Primaries are very, very important, especially in a state like Georgia. They have open primaries. So you can vote Republican or Democrat. They cheat so bad that way. I have been voting in Georgia since 2016. It's so crazy the way you vote in Georgia. So primaries are very, very important in Georgia and a lot of other states. You need to show up and vote. If you're in California, for the love of God, please show up to vote. You can get a Republican governor in California right now. The two leaders are Republicans. They have a jungle primary. So the top two people go to the general. Right now, it's two Republicans. So yes, get out and vote. We can turn this country around if we fight hard enough. And all I'm doing is having you go and vote. I'm not even telling you to do what I do. Go to meetings, show up and protest, do a podcast, make videos. I'm not even telling you to do that. I'm like, get out and vote. Tell your friends to vote. Tell your family to vote. We don't want the Democrats back in charge. Because look what they did. They were paying people to start these riots. What do you think is going to happen when they're back in charge? They've already said they're going to impeach everybody. They're going to arrest people like me. It's going to be a nightmare. We cannot let that happen. So please, I'm begging you, get out and vote. Tell your friends, tell your family, and save this country. Please save what, I don't want to go there, but Charlie Kirk worked so hard to get Donald Trump voted in. He really did. You know what he'd be doing right now? He'd be going crazy trying to win the midterms. He'd be going all out. I miss him so much because we don't have him fighting. So we have to do the fighting. They are touring the country right now, Turning Point. So they're trying. But we need everyone to get out and make sure you're voting in the primaries. The primaries are very, very important. I know people don't think they are, but that's how you get the rhinos out. That's how you get the good conservative Republicans. Tell your friends, tell your family, because all this stuff that's coming out, so many things are coming out. Everybody keeps saying nothing's happening. I don't want to vote for the Republicans. You do not want the Democrats to win. Like I said, I've had some crazy things happen to me because I am a Trump supporter. If the Democrats get in charge, they will probably come and arrest me. I've already lost my job. I was, censored. I get called all kinds of names. They reported me on multiple things. We cannot lose. We want to be a strong country. We got the Bible being read right now, 12 hours a day for the next 2 days. Tomorrow's the last day. We have so many good things going on right now. We want to keep the momentum going. So I'm going to get off here because today is my table group and it starts at 6:30. So I need to get off of here and try to fix myself up a little bit. I'm not going all out because it's whatever. But I thank you for watching. I will be back tomorrow around the same time. I will have a little bit longer of an episode because I don't have anything to do tomorrow night. But please just research some of the stuff that I've been telling you. If you feel like you want to know exactly the stuff that's going on. But look up SPLC. You can look up what they're supposed to be doing, and you can see all the stuff that they have lots of evidence of what they have done to conservatives in this country. If we do not win the midterms, it will be 1,000% worse than what's happened in the last 4 or 5 years to us. Because they won't really have anybody to stop them. Like they say Trump is a king, but really Congress has the most authority. So they cannot have authority. So they can do all this crazy stuff to this country. I want to not have to every day be afraid to walk down the street, go into a store, drive my car somewhere. I don't want to live like that. And now we know who was funding all this stuff. At least that is a good thing. So, thank you so much for watching. Sorry for late people. I got on here early because my table group is today, if you didn't catch that. So, you can go back and rewatch it. It is a little bit informative. I thought it was important. Pretty much made my week when I found this evidence out. So it made my week. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a blessed and safe evening. And thank you for just, tuning in to a nobody like me that's just trying to get truth out. And I thank you so much. Please like and share, and hope to see you tomorrow.